Hey, good morning from the office. I'm your host, BKP. It is great to be here this morning. It is 63 degrees in LJ, Georgia, 8:01 in the morning. First of all, Josh, let's tell people how they can contact the show. We may have some new viewers this morning because we're going to talk about the Gilmer County pool, the community pool. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot of controversy on social media, and we're going to give you a handful of facts this morning on this subject, and you take it from there. So 706-889-9700, that is the phone number here. It is a 24/7 phone number. Let me make sure I don't have anything, turn all the ringers off here, Josh. Right here, you can text the show while it's going on. Tell me if you agree or disagree. You can email us, and there's the social media way to follow us. Now, before we get started, just so if you are viewing this morning because you are interested in the Gilmer County pool, the subject of the Gilmer County pool and what broke yesterday, that it's not going to be open this summer, or that's what Chairman Parris is going to, Charlie Parris is going to propose to the commission, that it not open this summer. We'll get into that about 8:24. Okay, we're going to spend about 35 minutes. We got a couple top stories we want to work on first, but we are going to do this story in the 8 o'clock hour, so tell your friends. I wanted to give you a little bit of time. Tell your friends about 8:24. Now, where I want to go first is again, let me address if you're a new viewer, because if you are, keep in mind that if you watch social media and you look at what I post, this is a 2 hour a day, Monday through Friday, opinion show. This is my opinion. It's an opinion show. Want to be clear on that, okay? So I actually share some of my personal views on this show, but they're not necessarily the views of FetchYourNews.com. Our reporters, they work independent of this opinion show, and we don't cross channels. All right. So the reason I wanted to set that up is I'm pro-life, and sometimes I say I'm very pro-life, and people misunderstand. Well, life or not? I mean, how could you be very pro-life? And the reason I say I'm very pro-life is because when I'll say the other side, pro-choice or pro-abortion, okay? They have taken the 9 months, generally it's 9 months, okay? Unless you have a niece, myself, that was born premature at 3.5 months or somewhere in that area, yes. And when my niece was born, I could probably hold her in the palm of my hand. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget my niece being when she was born, and she was sent to Newark, New Jersey, special premature center for anyhow. That being said, the pro-choice side, okay, the pro-choice side has put everything in the stages, okay, 20 weeks, third trimester abortions, and now Ralph Northam, the governor of Virginia, even said that after the baby's delivered, they would comfort the baby. Remember that, the Virginia governor? They would comfort the baby after it was delivered. The doctor and the mother would, talk, and then a decision to be made to terminate the baby's life. Wow, that one still gets me, okay? So I'm very pro-life, and I don't want to get, when I say stuck on that, very pro-life. Also, I believe in faith-based adoptions, all right? I believe in faith-based adoptions. We have to get faith-based adoptions back in our states, okay? We just cannot tell Catholic charities, faith-based adoption centers, they do not, they will not adopt to same-sex couples, and because of that, states won't allow them to operate. But that's my belief system. Yesterday, let's go with this. Let's go with this right here. And number 5, okay. Now, here is a picture of Governor Brian Kemp. And this one right here, and I'm going to try to do this without getting, I'm serious, tears in my eyes, because here is, and I want to say this just to set this picture up. There is your governor, a pro-life hero, a brave man. Hollywood said no to this. Members of Hollywood, the elite actors, some of them, threatened to pull a $9 billion, I think, $9 billion film industry out of Georgia. There were billions of dollars of business losses the state was threatened with. Now, I just, some networks are going with, Donald Trump and lost $1 billion. Not here today. This one right here, that picture of that man leaning over. Now, the thing about it is the people behind him. Now, I know that's, I think her name's Avetta Scott King, all right, Dr. King's niece, all right, Renee Alterman, I think that's her name, a senator, I'm pretty sure. But let me go to Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan, and then you have the governor's wife, and then you have Georgia House Speaker David Ralston. And how that legislation got on that table, Ed Setzer, right, over in Representative Ed Setzer over in Bartow. Is he in Bartow County? I'm not for sure. Ackworth. Thank you, Josh. Good work. So Representative Ed Setzer from Ackworth introduced a bill on the House of Representatives. The Speaker of the House put the bill through committee. That's David Ralston. Took the bill, put it through committee, and brought it to the floor for a vote. Now, for all of the, discussion surrounding Speaker Ralston at this time, he has to bring these bills to the floor for a vote. He's been accused on many bills of, keeping them off the floor and not allowing a vote. But Ralston the Speaker, had to put this on the floor, let the representatives vote on it. It was that big of a deal to the governor of Georgia. And he did. Then it went over to the Senate. Now, the Senate is presided by Lieutenant Governor, looking over Governor Kemp's shoulder there, Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan, okay? So when it went over to Senate, the Senate made some minor modifications to the bill. That's what they do. And they passed it. The lieutenant governor brought it to the floor there. They made some modifications. The lieutenant governor and the Senate sent it back to the House. That's how it works. About 2 days before the session was over, the 2019 General Assembly down there in Atlanta was over for the year, legislative session. The bill that came back from the Senate, the Speaker put back on the floor. It went back on the floor for a vote. Now, what I'm saying is because between the Lieutenant Governor and the Speaker of the House, and don't forget this is a House bill, okay? So, Speaker Ralston, had Ed Setzler. I do not want to miss giving this guy a lot of credit, okay, for the bill, Representative. But Speaker Ralston put it on the floor, sent it over. Lieutenant Governor Duncan did his job. The Senate did their job. They brought it back. Speaker Ralston put it back on the floor for a vote. It passed. And the governor right there has a bill. And the reason that unification, okay, it is not just, I love this guy, right? Brian Kemp, the governor, brave, guts, a hero. I mean, you could just continue on and on. The leaning over that desk, just the picture of that, and the people behind him in support. So big deal there yesterday. So we want to show a video of this is the fetal heartbeat bill, meaning when, and the state of Georgia has a bill now, or a law. It's the law as of that pen stroke yesterday, but the state of Georgia now has the toughest, one of the toughest anti-abortion bills in the country. When a heartbeat is detected, that can be 6 weeks. After that, it's against the law to have an abortion. 6 weeks. The fetal heartbeat bill. Let's play this video real quick from yesterday. Governor Brian Kemp signing this bill.
Thank you all so much for being here with us this morning. As you all know, Georgia is a state that values life. We protect the innocent. We champion the vulnerable. We stand up and speak for those who are unable to speak for themselves. The Life Act is very simple, but also very powerful. A declaration that all life has value, that all life matters, and that all life is worthy of protection. I understand, like the others have said, that some oppose this legislation. I realize that some may challenge it in the court of law. But our job is to do what is right, not what is easy. We are called to be strong and courageous. And we will not back down. We will always continue to fight for life. I'm signing HB 481 this morning to ensure that all Georgians have the opportunity to live, grow, learn, and prosper in our great state. Through the Life Act, we will allow precious babies to grow up and realize their full God-given potential.
Back to me. I'm sorry, folks, man. I mean, I get all emotional over that. We value life in Georgia. The Life Act. All lives matter. All life matters. Well, you know he's in trouble for that. Not back down. Not back down. HB 481. Now, Josh, I sent you one video. You remember I said disregard that one. Do you still have it? Get the one I said disregard, and I want to fast forward because right after that, the opposition made some comments. It's about a minute long. All right, I want to play that one. There's going to be a little redundancy, but ASAP, as soon as you can get that video. Can you find that right where they're doing? All right, set that up. Have that ready. Go a little bit back so it comes out and we don't miss anything. And go ahead and put that up when you're ready. Here it comes, folks.
Today, Georgia has joined this race to the bottom. The bottom when it comes to access to health care. The bottom when it comes to standing up for those who need us the most. I have one message for Governor Kemp. We will see you, sir, in court. Yes. Yes.
All right, so yesterday, if you were listening to this show, I told you immediately 5 minutes afterwards, I went as far to say 5 minutes after it was signed, there would be a court. Go ahead and put up number 5 again. There would be a lawsuit filed. As you could see immediately, a race to the bottom. Georgia is a race to the bottom. Do you hear life? The sanctity of life, protecting life is considered racing to the bottom. Did you hear any of them come out and say when New York, okay, you could deliver, okay, you could be in the delivery process of a baby, not a fetus, folks, a baby in New York State, and you can abort that. You can abort that child. I don't want to get into the disgusting facts because it's very horrific when you start talking about it. You could do that. Virginia was passing a law, attempting to pass a law with Governor Ralph Northam. They would deliver the baby, then abort the baby. And these people have the nerve to say Georgia is racing to the bottom? Are you serious? And healthcare? Maybe you missed out there before you went to the podium that Georgia made some major moves in healthcare with Medicaid expansion waivers. Okay, I don't want to get that wrong. It's not Medicaid expansion, it's Medicaid waivers. But anyhow, Georgia has done some things to help rural hospitals in this last legislative session and grow the availability for people to get health care in Georgia. So maybe they missed the last legislative session. So race to the bottom. But I'm so proud of our governor in Georgia. I am so proud of what he did, the courage he had, and what he said yesterday. This is not it. I want you to look this up because I got to get ready to go to break because we're going to do the Gilmer County pool story. But I want you to look this up, okay? He also went on to say in that statement yesterday about adoptions. And we'll talk about adoptions tomorrow on the show. Faith-based adoptions. But I want you to look up Brian Kemp, governor of Georgia, said, we're not done. And not just that he signed the bill. To me, I was so proud to hear him say, we are not done. And it makes it exciting to me to say, hey, next year, are we going to open up to faith-based adoptions? That's a bill that tried to make it 2 years ago and failed. Okay? And failed, and we want to talk about that one tomorrow. Okay, before we go to our first break, you're looking at news cycles all over. This is let me just say something. Number 18. Okay, this is the woman that Craig from the New York Times. She's an investigative reporter. And they have gone through and they have leaked President Trump's some transcripts of his tax returns, not the actual tax returns, okay? And not the actual tax returns. And number 7, and you're hearing all over the news, overall, Mr. Trump lost so much money that he was able to avoid paying income taxes for 8 of 10 years, okay? They are trying to run your president down like you would not believe. Number 9, they love it. These networks love it. Trump tax returns show $1 billion in losses, okay? It's game over, Mitch McConnell said on the Mueller report. Let me go to number 13, CNN. All right. New York Times, Trump lost 1.17 billion over 10 years. CNN is loving that. Okay. Now this was back in the 80s and the 90s. All right. So anyhow, what about, there's 2 things. No wonder Trump's not going to put his tax returns out there. Because if this leaks, okay, every single day they're going to leak stuff. Every single day. They're going to leak stuff to try to bring our president down. Okay? It's going to be nonstop. They want the tax returns. What does this make relevant in your life today? Now, there's 2 things. He lost a lot of money. So is the story that this guy is a failure, a loser? Is that the story? Because I'm telling you, folks, they still don't believe he won the presidency. They do not accept he won anywhere in his life. The guy happens to be getting on Air Force One in the Oval Office, financed his own campaign. Who paid for that Trump Force One? You remember that big Trump plane that was flying to all those campaign rallies, like 4 a day? Who paid for that jet fuel? Who paid that pilot? Who paid that staff? Donald J. Trump. Not the American people, folks. When he was campaigning for the Republic. Now, when you become the nominee, the Republican nominee, you get, okay, campaign funds from the Republican Party. But when he was running in the primary, folks, who paid the bills? Not you, the American taxpayer. Oh, no, no. He was paying the bills out of his pocket. Maybe if they want to report the losses, maybe he is the greatest business turnaround in history. Maybe he turned that business around. Maybe he sustained these losses over this period of time and turned the business around to where it was very profitable. And it is very profitable today. The Trump Enterprises is very profitable. Trump Tower is there. I don't think they repossessed it. I mean, the interesting thing is they're going on and he lost $1 billion. Okay, I get it. But when he heads down to Mar-a-Lago in Florida, I don't see where they've repossessed it. I mean, he still owns that. When he heads out to Bedminster, New Jersey, out there to that golf course, still looks like to me he owns the place. When he goes to Trump Tower, when you go to New York City, Trump Tower, still looks like to me he owns the place. So I think he's been pretty successful. But this is why you cannot have the Mueller report released in full. They want the underlying evidence. They want all the notes to the Mueller report. Why? So they can leak them through the New York Times and Washington Post every day. All right, any little tabloid. I mean, they've all turned into tabloid journalism. They want to leak something every single day. So, right now, Treasury Secretary, and I'm going to get on with this so I can get to my other story before the 9 o'clock hour. But, okay, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin has pushed back and said, no, you're not getting the president's tax returns. Right? Don't you find it interesting that this broke? I mean, there's always the coincidence of timing in the deep state media. The deep state media is always a coincidence in timing of when stories break. So I find it very interesting that this story breaks surrounding his tax returns. And I will say this, and we're going to move on, okay? When this lady, which an investigative journalist from the New York Times, which helped break the story, number 18, when she was asked this morning on Morning Joe, when she was asked, hey, you know what? What's the chances of us actually getting leaked real tax returns? And she basically said, my words here, but basically said that's coming right around the corner. That's eventually going to happen, okay? So they want to leak stuff every single day to take down your president of the United States. Can you believe, have you ever seen so many people betting on the failure of a country, betting on the failure of your president, betting on the failure of you? If you are out there today and you're enjoying the economy and you're enjoying life, do you realize they want to crash things around you so you will no longer be enjoying that and you will realize, oh my God, I must vote for Joe Biden so my life can be complete? That is the mental thought process. Pull up Nancy Pelosi. They're mental, folks. They got a screw loose. Nancy Pelosi said, basically, quote, Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi said, we have to stop a Trump second term at all costs. We have to stop it. It has to be stopped. Get ready, folks. I'm going to take a break and come back right at the bottom of the hour, 8:30. We're going to give 25 minutes and dedicate it to the Gilmer County pool. And we're going to give you some facts. We're going to show you some pictures. And we're going to tell you where to go to read for yourself. Forget all the social media hype you're listening to. Stick with the facts right after these messages. Take us a break, Josh.